Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. More COVID measures will end on Thursday, with another batch to be lifted later this month. Government and railway officials confirmed that East Rail's cross-harbour section will open in 12 days. And the exchange fund suffers its biggest quarterly investment loss in 2 years. More anti-COVID restrictions will be eased on Thursday when beaches will reopen and up to 8 people can dine together in restaurants. Further curbs will be relaxed on May 19th, with bars, nightclubs and mahjong parlors among the entertainment venues that can welcome back customers. Macy Mock reports.
With Hong Kong's epidemic situation remaining stable, Chief Executive Carrie Lam announced the further relaxation of social distancing measures to meet strong public demand. Starting on Thursday, beaches, swimming pools, water parks, and water sports centers will reopen. People exercising outdoors will not have to wear face masks. And 8 people instead of 4 at present can share a table in restaurants, a move which comes in time for Mother's Day on Sunday. More curbs will be lifted in 16 days when the second phase of relaxation kicks in. That will include the reopening of bars, nightclubs, bathhouses, party rooms, mahjong parlors, and karaoke lounges. Cruises will also resume. Bars can stay open until 2 a.m. with up to 4 people per table. Restaurants will be able to serve dine-in patrons until midnight instead of closing at 10 p.m. as at present. More people can attend banquets, with capacity expanding 6-fold from 20 to 120. Moviegoers will once again be allowed to indulge in snacks in cinemas, with capacity rising from 50% to 85%. People working out indoors can do so without masks. The chief executive warned that although social distancing measures are being relaxed, the enforcement of the vaccine pass arrangement will be stepped up. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
At least 45 students and teaching staff tested positive for COVID on the first day of class resumptions for secondary schools and kindergartens. But the Center for Health Protection said the infection figures included positive results during the Labor Day public holiday. It said there are no signs of an outbreak in campuses. Including the 45 cases, Hong Kong reported 290 infections, a slight uptick from yesterday. 21 patients were returnees from overseas. There were also 7 COVID-related deaths. Beijing is not taking any chances with Omicron and ordered residents in 12 districts to undergo 3 more rounds of mass testing. The capital added 62 domestic infections yesterday and 32 today as of 3 p.m. At least 50 of the new patients were those working in quarantine facilities, pushing the total in Beijing's latest cluster past 450. Classes in schools were suspended, but Chaoyang Hospital will resume outpatient services tomorrow. In lockdown Shanghai, new cases fell to 5,700, with 20 more deaths. There's good news for East Rail commuters who wish to travel from the new territories to Hong Kong Island. They will have a faster and easier option when the Hong Kong to Admiralty section of the Sha Tin to Central Link opens next Sunday. Joanna Ho reports.
Transport Secretary Frank Chan and MTR Chief Executive Jacob Kam confirmed that from next Sunday, East Rail commuters can go all the way to Hong Kong Island when the long overdue Hong Kong to Admiralty section begins operations. Metro Segment Chief Sammy Wong said the new exhibition center station between Hong Kong and Admiralty stations will open and welcome visitors next Monday before it goes into service on May 15th. He said both Hong Kong and Admiralty stations have been expanded to serve East Rail passengers. Admiralty will become the super interchange station, connecting 4 lines: Chun Wan, Island, South Island, and East Rail. Specific machines called cross-harbour EC have been installed for passenger convenience. Passengers heading for Kowloon now have the option of traveling on the East Rail line or the existing Chun Wan line. Those who have difficulty deciding can make use of these screens, which indicates the waiting time for the next train, as well as the real-time situation on the platforms. As the new stations can only accommodate 9 carriages at most, Wong said there will be specific measures to cope with a possible passenger influx. The emphasis is to give travelers more options. Many commuters welcomed the new line, but Roundtable lawmaker Michael Tian expressed concern that other forms of public transport will be hit.
I would think that most of the passengers will switch to this new line because it's much cheaper and much faster. So the bus companies lose all their Hong-Hum to Central cross-harbour passengers and also the bulk of the long-haul passengers. So they're taking a double hit. And all the benefit would go to NCR.
Tian, however, doesn't think the government will allow bus companies to raise fares, but their financial situation could be improved if they can cut service frequencies. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
Overseas, Israel has demanded an apology from Russia after its top diplomat Sergei Lavrov alleged that Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler had Jewish blood. Lavrov was responding to questions over the validity of Moscow's goal to denazify Ukraine, whose president is Jewish. Sarah Wong reports.
There's been widespread international condemnation against Russia since it invaded Ukraine 3 months ago. Now the chorus of denunciation has been bolstered by a comment from Russia's seasoned top diplomat Sergei Lavrov. The foreign minister was asked how the Kremlin could claim it wants to denazify Ukraine when its president, Volodymyr Zelensky, is Jewish. Lavrov said he believed that Nazi leader Adolf Hitler had Jewish origins. Hitler's Holocaust killed 6 million Jews in Europe during the Second World War. The diplomatic uproar came as Moscow eyes significant military gains in Ukraine by May 9th, a Russian holiday celebrating the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany. Lavrov's remarks angered Zelensky, whose great-grandparents were killed when Nazis burned down their village. As one of only 2 Jewish heads of state, Zelensky lambasted Moscow for forgetting the lessons of World War II and accused it of pinning Nazi crimes on the Jewish people. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett asked Russia's top envoy to apologize and stop using the Holocaust for political purposes. Israel's foreign minister Yair Lapid went a step further, calling Lavrov's comments unforgivable and outrageous. The subsequent silence from Moscow over Lavrov's words could further alienate Israel, which had been trying to mediate in the conflict. As a key U.S. ally, Israel has come under pressure from Washington for refraining from sanctioning Russian oligarchs. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
Hong Kong's economy shrank by 4% in the 3 months ending in March as the 5th COVID wave hammered economic activities. There was more bad news as the city's exchange fund recorded its biggest quarterly investment loss in 2 years. The fund, which is used to defend against the local currency, lost $9.4 billion in Hong Kong stock investments in the first quarter, compared with the $7.6 billion profit a year ago. Losses in overseas shares amounted to $24.6 billion. Bond investments were in the red to the tune of $34.7 billion. But there was a gain of $13.7 billion from foreign exchange appreciation. The investment loss of $55 billion compared with the profit of $11.6 billion for the same period last year. The Monetary Authority expects difficult conditions in financial markets because of uncertainties in the war in Ukraine, the pace of U.S. interest rate hikes, and the pandemic.
What we're doing is to make sure that our tactical position will be defensive, we will remain liquid, and for the medium and longer term, we will try to diversify in order to generate the best medium-term, long-term returns for the exchange fund.
Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng ended the day up by 12 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Alibaba lost $1.80, while Tencent was up $2.60. The tracker fund ended the day flat, while Hong Kong exchanges was up $4. Conservators at the Hong Kong Palace Museum, which opens in July, are preparing to receive exhibits that will be arriving from Beijing in the coming weeks. Special equipment will be used to protect the priceless works of art from the humidity. Joanna Ho reports.
The Hong Kong Palace Museum is preparing to receive more than 900 works of art before it opens in July, while officials in Beijing are checking the condition of the pieces before sending them to Hong Kong. Two conservators at the museum in the West Kowloon Cultural District are setting up specific display furniture for their storage and exhibition. Lu Zhichao is an expert on Chinese painting and calligraphy, and Jessie Liang has an interest in archaeological relics and ceramics. The ceramics, bronzes, and paper-based artifacts such as calligraphy require special treatment because of Hong Kong's humid weather.
For the bronze, it needs a well-dry environment because water is a very important component for the deterioration of the metal. So we just provide very dry environment for the metal.
The conservator said the hot weather in summer is not the biggest challenge as the city's temperature range across different seasons is relatively small. Apart from demonstrating the use of the hygrometer to measure humidity and the thermometer, Lu and Liang showed the other items they use. These include brushes imported from the mainland and two lacquer tables, one of which was made by a craftsman in Yangzhou.
The lacquer tables are specifically important for the conservation of Chinese silk-based and paper-based works of art. The conservator said the red tone can help them check different layers inside the calligraphies and paintings.
The two said they were proud to be involved in the project and urged people to visit the museum as soon as it is opened to appreciate the exhibits sent from the Palace Museum in Beijing. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
Muslims around the world are celebrating Eid alFitr, marking the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. In India, worshippers in the capital New Delhi flocked to one of the country's largest mosques as COVID restrictions were eased. It was a day of rejoicing for India's Muslim minority as religious activities resumed. Other countries where Muslims gathered for prayers included Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Iran. Muslims in the Russian city of Kazan observed Eid by praying for peace and a swift end to the war in Ukraine. On to the weather now. The sunny weather continues as tomorrow will be mainly fine and dry. Temperatures will range between 21 and 28 degrees. It will be mainly fine on Thursday before turning cloudy with a few showers on Friday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Tuesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Thanks for watching. Good night.